Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the middle of the order. And we are here for another TOP. Today, we're talking about some AL East teams. The first one of the day being your New York Yankees. And an offseason that I would say Yankees fans are happy with, in a way. Obviously, they maybe wish they would have done more, but I think the moves they made are going to benefit them in 2024. Of course, last year, not a great year for New York. One of their worst years in recent history, to be honest with you. I mean, the Yankees really struggled last year, dealing with injuries, dealing with some weird things throughout the season, but they were at one point expecting to have a below 500 record for the first time, I think, in the 2000s. So it was a really tough year for Yankees in general. They finished at 82-80, just one game above 500. They were 25th in runs for, 10th in ERA, and 9th in runs against. That was good for 4th place in the AL East, 8th in the AL as a whole. I believe that's correct. Let me double check that. I think it was 7th actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope, 8th in 8th in the AL, and 15th in MLB as a whole. They should have had the 16th pick in this year's draft, but they're way over that luxury tax, so they are going to go down 10 spots and end up with the 26th pick in this year's draft. So let's see, who are they adding for 2024, and it starts with the headliner guy and a key piece this season, Juan Soto. Contract year for him and a big year for the Yankees. They acquired him in a trade with the Padres as well as Trent Grisham, but not the only trade they made, because they're bringing over a guy from Boston. It's Alex Verdugo. That's a wild trade right there. Marcus Stroman joins the rotation. Caleb Ferguson, Victor Gonzalez, Lou Trevino re-signs, as well as Cody Potet. So definitely some names you would know here. Soto, Verdugo, and Stroman being that big key three, I think, that are going to really make or break the difference for the Yankees this year. They're losing some key pieces, though. IKF gone, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Luis Severino joining a different New York team, goes from the Yankees to the Mets. Kyle Higashioka and Michael King were the key pieces heading to San Diego. They're but gone. Frankie Montas, awful trade. It turned out to be for the Yankees. He's no longer with the team. Wandy Peralta and Billy McKinney as well. So some notable names, some notable rotation pieces there. King, Montas, and Severino. Speaking of said rotation, they've got guys. Garrett Cole, the Cy Young winner, leads the way there for the Yankees. Carlos Rodon, hopefully a healthy Carlos Rodon. Marcus Stroman, number 3. Clark Schmidt in the 4, and then Nestor Cortez Jr., who dealt with some injuries and kind of has fallen off his horse from 2021 and 2022. He rounds out that rotation as the 5-hole for now. The bullpen's got some names to note. Clay Holmes, the closer as of now, listed on Fangraphs. Jonathan Loaizaga, Caleb Ferguson, Victor Gonzalez, Ian Hamilton still in back there, Cody Potet as well, a couple other guys. So the bullpen is nice. The rotation is good, with Garrett Cole leading the way, of course, as your Cy Young favorite. The lineup is even better, in my opinion. Probably what's going to lead the Yankees to any success this year. Leading things off, DJ LeMahieu at third base, which I'm not a fan of, but I understand why they have him there. Juan Soto bats second in right field. Aaron Judge, the big bat, center fielder, number 3. Anthony Rizzo at first base, bats fourth. Gleyber Torres, the second baseman, batting fifth. Giancarlo Stanton, the DH, bats sixth. Alex Verdugo, left fielder, batting 7th. Anthony Volpe, the prospect kid, first year under the belt, shortstop, he bats 8th. And then Austin Wells, catcher, came up a little bit towards the end of the season, got a glimpse of him. He rounds out that lineup, batting 9th. The bench backup catcher, Jose Trevino, Ben Rodervelt, Oswaldo Cabrera, and Trent Grisham rounds out your bench there. Some injuries to note for said New York Yankees. Of course, the big one of their top prospects, Jason Dominguez. He's got Tommy John surgery. Weird to see a Tommy John surgery for a non-pitcher, but he's expected to miss a good chunk of the 2024 season. Lou Trevino, the guy they re-signed, the pitcher, he has Tommy John surgery as well. He's questionable for 2024 as a whole. Oswaldo Peraza had a strained shoulder. He's been shut down for 6 to 8 weeks, so he's probably going to start the season on the IL. Tommy Kahnle, he's got some shoulder inflammation, which is why he was not listed as part of the bullpen. He is expected to be on the IL, but he is questionable for the opening day roster. And then a couple guys here just recently, Jose Trevino, a strained calf, of course, expected to be ready for opening day. And then Garrett Cole, he actually went for a, test, I think, the other day for some elbow discomfort. So, right now he's still listed for the projected 26-man roster, but if they have to lose Cole, I mean, that's a big blow to the Yankees at the start of the season. Because, of course, Garrett Cole was a huge piece in their season last year, Cy Young winner, but we'll talk about that shortly after we go through the free agents at the end of this year. And I think the Yankees have one of the bigger lists of free agencies here. Of course, Juan Soto headlines that, the guy they just traded for. What are you going to get out of him for a year? Can you extend him? I think that's the plan, but the Yankees have a lot of money on the books right now. Gleyber Torres, a free agent, Alex Verdugo, a free agent, Clay Holmes, Jonathan Loáisiga, Caleb Ferguson, Tommy Kahnle, and then a couple club options on Anthony Rizzo and Lou Trevino. So three big bats, and half of the bullpen all off the books here. So we could be talking about a different looking New York team come 2025. But of course, they have a year of Juan Soto. They have a year of, what they have. And I think they're going to be making a big push in 2024 to kind of right the wrongs of last year. But one player who didn't have any wrongs last year, of course, we're talking Garrett Cole, the Cy Young winner, all-star, finished 11th in MVP voting, and had an amazing year for New York. A 15-4 record, a 2.63 ERA, 33 starts made, a 209 innings pitched, 222 strikeouts. It was great. It was great top to bottom. When this guy was starting a game, you got to watch out. In his 11-year career, he's made 300 starts, and he's won just under half of those, 145 wins for him. A great pitcher, top to bottom. Of course, his days in Houston, fighting Cy Young with Justin Verlander. He's finished Cy Young second 2 times before, so finally he gets the win, his first Cy Young in his career, and rightfully so, because he had a phenomenal year, and as long as his elbow is good, he's expected to have another great year for the Yankees in 2024, and is a big part of that because, Rodon had a very bumpy start to his New York career. Of course, coming off of back-to-back All-Stars in 2021 and 2022 with the White Sox and Giants, finished in 5th and 6th in the Cy Young voting that year with a 2.37 ERA and a 2.88 ERA. Of course, his earlier days with the White Sox has always been injured full, but after, when he's healthy and when he's there for the full season, he looks amazing, and we saw that in 2021 and 2022. Last year was one of those injured seasons. He made 14 starts, a 3-8 record, a 6.85 ERA, only struck out 64 batters, so basically a batter an inning. Gave up 15 home runs. Yeah, it was just a very tough year for Rodon, a not healthy year. So without Cole, I mean, Rodon, if he can stay healthy also, it's a good 1-2 punch. But right now, I think it's the injuries that I'll be worrying about for the Yankees, something to worry about. Obviously, Marcus Stroman, a great pitcher as well. But with Marcus Stroman being the one, you go Clark Schmidt to Nestor Cortez Jr. If both Cole and Rodon are hurt, that's a little bit tricky for the Yankees. Starting pitching may prove to be a problem with their depth right now. They don't have the most notable names. They do have some nice guys, and of course the prospect system, one being Spencer Jones, who may be a year out, but he is hitting some tanks right now in spring training if you haven't seen. Taking a quick look at the starting pitcher depth there for the Yankees. The name that I know the most, Luis Gil, but everyone else is kind of unknown to me. They have some of their organization's best ranked prospects and players like that, but outside of Luis Gil, I don't really recognize any of the starting pitcher depth that they have there. So I would be a little bit worried if something is wrong with Garrett Cole, or if Rodon is just having another one of those iffy seasons where he's on and off hurt. Speaking of a guy who, when right, is the best in baseball, some would say, and when wrong and hurt, he is obviously a detriment. Aaron Judge, 40 million. We saw it in 2022. He was the MVP with 62 home runs, career numbers. If you look at the baseball reference, it's a bold year for him. On base percentage, slugging, OPS plus, total bases, RBIs, home runs, runs, all of that. Walks too, even. Like he had an incredible 2022. His 2023 was good, but as well hurt. 106 games for the MVP in 2022 in his age 31 season. 98 hits, 37 home runs, a 267 batting average, and a 1.019 OPS. So let's just say this. If Judge was healthy in 2023, he would have maybe had a case for back-to-back MVPs. His numbers were great when he was playing. Of course, he had that weird ankle roll in, I believe, Dodger Stadium, that right field wall. So I think that was him. Maybe I'm mixing up my Yankees here, but he had some tricky problems staying on the field. But when he is healthy and when he's played, a 150 plus games, he's been incredible. I mean, his 2017, where he was the Rookie of the Year, finished second in MVP voting behind Altuve. He played 155 games. 2021, 148 games, came fourth in MVP. And of course, 2022, 157 games, the most he's played in a career. So if he's playing 150 plus games, 145 plus, he's going to be top 5 in MVP and put up, outstanding home run numbers, 30 plus. So yeah, Judge is obviously a huge part in all of the Yankees' success. Home run derby champ, 5-time All-Star already. But yeah, so obviously Judge, big part. Cole, big part. Stanton, what can you get out of him? Because he always had a strong career with Miami, and since joining New York, it hasn't been as strong. If you look at his baseball reference page, I mean, 2017, where he was the MVP with Miami in his last year, Silver Sluggers, All-Stars, all of that happened with Miami. The only All-Star appearance he's had with the Yankees, 2022, so somewhat recently, but even that wasn't an outstanding year for Stanton with a 759 OPS and a 211 batting average. Last year, just as worse. Obviously, playing hurt some games probably, 101 games played, 24 home runs, but a 191 batting average and a 695 OPS. So it was a lot of either, home runs or not doing anything. He had 124 strikeouts in what was a really tough year. If you have seen him in spring training, he does look like the best shape he's been in since being a New York Yankee. So that's a promising sign, at least. If you can get anything close to Miami, Giancarlo Stanton, I think the Yankees will take that. Because there were times where he would be hitting 20 plus home runs every single year up until 2019, where of course he was hurt, only played 18 games. But when he's healthy, he's still putting up, 20 plus home runs. He's a power guy, and that's what he's going to do. But obviously, you want to limit those strikeout numbers and get the batting average at least to like 210 if you're a power hitter like Stanton is. He's going to be 34 this year, so what can you get out of him? And if we're going off of veterans right now, how about Anthony Rizzo? Because, I mean, the one thing I remember last year is that he got hurt, and yet he still played like 2 or 3 months before realizing that he had a concussion. I still don't understand how that works medically. Like, how does the team not realize that your player has been concussed for 3 months? I think it was something like that. So obviously Rizzo had a really tough year because they're sending him out there with a concussion. Like, that was the story for Anthony Rizzo last year. And it was a tough year for him, in my opinion. 99 games, 91 hits, 12 home runs, a 244 batting average, a 706 OPS. On the defensive side, he was not it, obviously. Like I said, when you're playing half of your season concussed, that still blows my mind, is that, like, he was hurt and no one could see it. He seemed fine. Like, obviously from when you're watching it on TV or in the stadium, like you can't really tell. But like when you're in the clubhouse and like checking him out, medical staff and all this stuff, and he's doing his training and everything, like how do you not see that he's obviously not 100% and give him the days off that he's needed and put him on the IL to, get himself right. 2022, he put up an 817 OPS. That dropped 100 points from 2022 to 2023. And I think, if you're Rizzo, being healthy is a big thing, and playing as much as you can and getting back to kind of being the Anthony Rizzo we've seen in his days with Chicago and, his small stint with the Yankees here, and is now going to be, fourth year, I believe, with the Yankees, is 2022, 2023, and of course the trade in 2021. So yeah, his third and a half, fourth year. And speaking of trade, I guess we're going bang, bang, bang. Juan Soto, that's a key piece. New York Yankee. And for me, it's always different when a player comes to New York. Some players thrive in the New York atmosphere and the booing and the Yankee fandom. And some players struggle. We've seen that before with guys, Sonny Gray, Joey Gallo. They come over and they're just not good. They just can't take it. So, for Verdugo to come over, for Stroman, new player, Soto as well, like how are they going to handle that? Because it's a different environment, I would say, for Soto, rather than National Park and Petco Field with San Diego. And San Diego numbers were great. Last year, played all 162 games. Staying healthy, being out on that field helped him have a great season. 132 walks, led the league. 275 batting average, 930 OPS, 35 home runs, 109 RBIs. Finished 6th in MVP voting with a Silver Slugger to boot, and was one of the key star points in the Padres season last year. And the Yankees are hoping for that for them. I mean, rightfully so. Soto has been a great player since debuting in 2018, where he finished second in Rookie of the Year voting. Following year, he helps them win a title. 2 more Silver Sluggers. In 2021, finished second in MVP voting. So Soto is great. A great ball player to have, and, Yankees fans are lucky to have him a part of the team. But yeah, as a whole, you would talk about the Yankees here. The key thing, and this is the very, start to bottom where you want for New York, is a healthy team. You don't want the guys getting down, because the depth, last year we saw it a lot more than we should have had. And, it's not the best. Their roster, when healthy and performing to standards, will be great, with Garrett Cole, Rodon, Stroman leading the way, Soto, Judge, Rizzo in the lineup, Anthony Volpe and Wells. These are 2 young kids, batting at the bottom. Volpe had a great first year, a little struggles at the beginning of the season, but he turned it around and had a nice 2023, finished 8th in Rookie of the Year, won a Gold Glove, a 209 batting average, a 666 OPS. Good defense. The back needs a little bit more work. So, continue off of that. If Volpe can do that, if LeMahieu can kind of find some form, Gleyber Torres has always been a huge part, very successful in that Yankees team. We're talking about a Yankee team that's going to win the division, and we talked about it with the Tampa Bay Rays. We'll talk about it with the Blue Jays in Baltimore. I mean, you can place your bet really, and like obviously everyone has their favorites and who they expect based off of the roster they have. I mean, you can roll a 4-sided dice and get it right. Like any one of these teams can win the AL East. A big thing will be how they play against the other AL East teams. And, like I said, the Yankees, healthy and firing on all cylinders, probably the best lineup, with the major league talent. I think Baltimore has a very high ceiling, but a lot of those kids are very young. How much are they going to be able to repeat last year's success? The Yankees have they have 2 goals really, in my mind. Obviously, if you're a Yankee fan, there's one goal, and that's a World Series. That's always the goal every year, is we're expecting a World Series run, a playoff run. For me, if I was a New York fan, I would just be taking a playoff appearance. Have a better season than you did last year. I don't think it's hard with the addition of Soto. I don't think it's, having Garrett Cole, having Stroman, like the team is still good. As long as players are healthy, it'll be very easy for the Yankees to have a better season than they did last year. And that's going to be the first key going forward into 2024. So a big thing to watch right now throughout spring training is how Garrett Cole does, because right now with that elbow discomfort, I mean, if he starts the season on the IL, we're already talking about a completely different looking Yankees team, depending on how serious that injury may be. The over-under from FanDuel, and let me say, this is high, 92.5. Listen, like I said, the Yankees probably have the best major league talent, Stanton, Judge, Rizzo, all the guys they have, and if they're all playing well, they probably have the best roster on paper, but I mean, when you look at the other numbers from the AL East teams and what their over-unders are, the Yankees having the highest doesn't sit right with me. I mean, 92.5, it's definitely not impossible. The Yankees can easily do it, but from 80 wins, depending on how the injuries go, I'm going to take the under. I definitely think they're going to improve, be an 88, 90 win team. They definitely can be a 93, 94 win and take, beat me on this one and take the over. I just think it's going to be a real dogfight for that division. I would love it for to be the last day of the season and all the teams are tied. Like the Blue Jays, Baltimore, Yankees, and Tampa Bay all tied with the same record on the last day of the season. Do you know how great that would be for baseball? I would eat that up. And I think a lot of baseball fans would as well. So yeah, 92.5. I'll take the under on the Yankees. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. But let me know your thoughts in the comments as we wrap up today's TOP. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. We've got one more today. It's another AL East team. And you should be able to guess which one it is based off of last season's performances. But yeah, so that will be coming out at 11 o'clock. I hope you guys can check that one out. So thank you, everybody, so much. And I will see you next time.